Hi YouTube, in this video we're going to be discussing about the effectiveness of subsidies in reducing market failure. In the previous video we discussed the effect of subsidies in reducing market failure. We discussed subsidies is going to cause a rise in the production and the consumption of merit goods. It is going to bring the merit goods to the socially optimum level. But is that really the case? We need to evaluate and debate on that in these 8-mark discuss questions. So let's see. Make sure that you watch the video till the end. Okay, as you can see in the diagram that the demand for merit goods is inelastic. Okay, so we already know that subsidies are basically financial grants that are given to firms in order to reduce the cost of production and increase the production and the consumption of merit goods up to the socially optimum level. और इससे फायदा ये होता है कि it results into, it internalizes the potential positive externalities, internalizes the potential external benefits that weren't being generated to the society, that weren't being earned by the society because of the underproduction of those merit goods, which in itself is a market failure, as we've already seen in our previous videos as well. Make sure, if you don't know about what market failure is, make sure to check my videos on YouTube on market failure. Moving on. So if the government subsidizes the firms, which is a financial grant given to firms in order to reduce the cost of production, we can see from the diagram that the supply curve is going to shift to the right to S1 and the market prices will fall from 100, which was the original equilibrium, to 70, which is the new equilibrium. So this is going to make the price of merit goods cheaper, and this is going to make the price of merit goods cheaper and make it affordable for the poor people to buy these goods and services. Hence the consumption of merit goods is going to rise from 100 to 110. अब बात ये है कि जब आप सब्सिडी दे रहे हैं तो फर्म्स की जो कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन है वो कम हो रही है. जब फर्म्स की कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन कम हो रही है, सो इट इज इंक्रीजिंग देयर एबिलिटी टू बेसिकली प्रोड्यूस मोर गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज, बिकॉज नाउ इट बिकम्स प्रॉफिटेबल फॉर फर्म्स टू प्रोड्यूस मोर, सिंस गवर्नमेंट उनको कुछ एक्स्ट्रा अमाउंट दे रही है उनकी प्रोडक्शन करने के ऊपर. दैट इज रिड्यूसिंग देयर कॉस्ट एंड हेंस दे आर प्रोड्यूसिंग मोर. बट टेक्निकली वो कितना प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं, वो जाहिर सी बात है प्रोड्यूस करके ऐसे तो मार्केट में नहीं छोड़ देंगे, बिकॉज वो प्रोड्यूस करके क्या करेंगे जब वो कंज्यूम ही नहीं होंगे. तो क्योंकि डिमांड ही इनइलास्टिक है तो कंज्यूम ही बहुत कम होंगे, इररिस्पेक्टिव के प्राइसेस आपकी फॉल हो रही हैं. और हमें ये नजर आ रहा है, मैं ये नहीं कह रहा इस वीडियो के अंदर, मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि अपना मेरिट गुड्स की जो डिमांड होती है वो इनइलास्टिक होती है. हम ये अज्यूम करके चल रहे हैं कि इफ द डिमांड इज इनइलास्टिक, irrespective of whether it is a merit good or not, because we have to evaluate the effectiveness of subsidies. We have to evaluate the effectiveness of subsidies, and we will say that if the demand is inelastic, be it merit goods or any other good, if the demand is inelastic, what is going to happen? It will reduce the extent of the effectiveness of subsidies, and subsidies will not be as effective as we think it will be, because we can clearly see from the diagram कि जो quantity traded है वो सिर्फ और सिर्फ 100 से कितनी हुई है, 110 हुई है, irrespective of the fact कि prices have reduced by 30%. 100 to 70 हो गई भाइयों, कितने परसेंट प्राइस कम हो गई, 30% कम हो गई मानूर. उसके बाद भी हमें नजर आ रहा है कि जो क्वांटिटी कंज्यूम हुई है, प्रोड्यूस्ड एंड कंज्यूम्ड, वो सिर्फ और सिर्फ 10% इंक्रीज हो रही है. दैट इज अ नॉमिनल अमाउंट. सो व्हाट इज द पॉइंट of giving subsidies to firms when, despite the fact that firms cost is reducing, they are not able to convert this benefit into an increase in consumption in the market for merit goods or be it any other type of goods. Understood? So hence we will state, we will debate, we will argue. All of these are evaluation words. We will say that the quantity that is being consumed only increases from 100 to 110, which is an insignificant amount, and hence we can say, we can argue that subsidy might not prove to be that effective, or subsidy might prove to be ineffective. We won't say कि subsidy जो है वो ineffective होगी, हम ये नहीं बोलेंगे. हम क्या बोलेंगे? It might prove to be ineffective, it might be ineffective as that is shown in the diagram. We won't make these kind of statements. It will, it should, इस तरह नहीं करेंगे. Might और may, normative terms में हम बात करेंगे. Moving on, सब्सिडी की इवैल्यूएशन. हेंस हमें नजर आ गया कि अगर हम चाहते हैं कि क्वांटिटी ट्रेडेड एक सिग्निफिकेंटली लार्ज एक्सटेंट से इंक्रीज हो निव्यान, तो हमें क्या करना चाहिए? वी शुड गिव द, इसीलिए द नॉलेज ऑफ पीडी इज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द गवर्नमेंट एज वेल. The government should be aware of the PD of the goods and services, because whatever good the government is subsidizing, it must make sure whether the demand is elastic or not. because if the aim of the government is to increase the consumption of those goods and it gives a subsidy on those goods, the money of the government will kind of be wasted, because the objective was to increase consumption, and since the demand is inelastic, despite the fact that producers will transfer the benefits to consumers in the form of low prices, as we can see, despite the fact that the producers will transfer the benefit to consumers in the form of low prices, we can clearly see from the diagram that consumption is not going to increase. And this is how we're going to debate in the exam, and this video is relevant for AS students as well. Okay? However, in A-level economics, you need to speak in more detail about consumer and producer surpluses and deadweight losses, okay, which is not required in O-levels. So, and it's not a part of syllabus as well. Moving forward, when you talk about evaluation is a skill, and this skill involves talking in normative, intuitive terms, where you are debating an argument, and then you are saying, okay, fine, we agree that subsidies might be effective, however, their effectiveness depends upon various factors, such as, number one, subsidies won't be effective if the benefit is not fully transferred to consumers. ठीक है, the objective of the subsidy was to increase cost of production and reduce the prices. What if the cost of production increased, but the prices were not, the producers didn't transfer the benefit on the consumers in the form of low prices, hence that will distort and mislead, and a better word would be that it won't make the subsidy that effective as it was intended to be. Number two, if the money from subsidy is mismanaged, maybe the money that the grant from the government to the producers is not fully utilized in an effective and efficient manner, and hence it won't result into productive efficiency. Why? Because what is going to happen is people who are lost in their daydreams, right? People who are lost in their daydreams, what is going to happen is that it is not going to improve the efficiency. Why? Because firms are not investing into research and development, they're not investing into innovation, they're not investing into product development, and that was the whole idea of the subsidy, to make the firms efficient. Subsidy was given to increase the production of merit goods. Subsidy was given to subsidy was given to those firms who wanted to be efficient, who wanted to invest in technology but they didn't have the funds for it. Subsidy was given to exporting firms because they were facing severe competition from imported goods. So hence, all of these things, it is mandatory, it is important for firms to reinvest that money into innovation and product development, right? Number three, subsidy would totally be ineffective if subsidy is given to inefficient firms. Subsidy आप inefficient firms को देंगे तो वो तो मजीद inefficient हो जाएंगे, relax होकर बैठ जाएंगे कि भाई पैसा तो गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से आ रहा है, हम चलो के बैठ जाते हैं. इसको बोलते हैं X inefficiency. क्या बोलते हैं? X inefficiency. It will result into X inefficiency. That's something that is not good, right? Number four, we already know that the money from subsidy is financed through taxes, and that money could have been spent on infrastructure, that money could have been spent on public goods, on transfer payments, on unemployment benefits, on education, on healthcare. Do you understand? It could have been spent on various goods and services, hence improving welfare. And the whole idea of subsidy was to improve the welfare of society, right? To improve the production of merit goods. Hence, we can argue in the exam that subsidies will improve welfare, but it didn't improve welfare to a very large extent. And there's an opportunity cost of this, because this money could have been spent on other areas that could have improved welfare on a much bigger scale than what we did or what the government tried to do, right? And it resulted into a total failure, a total collapse of government policy and collapse of government intervention, or failure of government intervention. Number five, depends whether the subsidy will be successful or not, depends on the extent of subsidy or the amount of subsidy given. Whether the subsidy will be successful or not depends upon the extent of subsidy or the amount of subsidy. Subsidy कितनी देनी है डिपेंड करता है कि उसकी extent क्या है, उसका amount क्या है. जाहिर सी बात है, a very insignificant amount that does not cover the cost of production is useless. Keep your money to yourself. Number six, estimating and calculating the correct subsidy amount is not easy. It's a difficult task. How much subsidy we have to give to these firms is not an easy job for the government. Wrong estimations will result in wrong amounts, resulting into resulting into government failure, resulting into opportunity cost on part of the government. अगर आपने सब्सिडी demerit goods को दे दी, because देखो एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन आएगा, discuss whether subsidies are effective to reduce market failure. अब क्या market failure खाली अंडर प्रोडक्शन ऑफ मेरिट गुड्स है? नहीं, मार्केट फेलियर तो ओवर प्रोडक्शन ऑफ डीमेरिट गुड्स भी है. तो अगर तुमने सब्सिडी डीमेरिट गुड्स पे दे दी तो मार्केट फेलियर कम होने के बजाय बढ़ गया, डीमेरिट गुड्स और बन जाएंगे इस तरह तो, राइट, अगेन रिजल्टिंग इनटू गवर्नमेंट फेलियर, गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसी फेलियर. डू यू अंडरस्टैंड? अब एक चीज देख लेते हैं. You need to understand that subsidy will reduce cost and hence it will shift the supply curve to the right. The difference between these two supply curves, this red line is representing the vertical difference between these two supply curves is representing the amount of subsidy per unit. I am repeating, the vertical distance between these two supply curve guys is representing the amount of subsidy per unit. In our example, it represents 110 minus 70. 110 minus 70, that is 40 per unit is the subsidy per unit of production. Understood? Now remember, let's calculate the total income for the producers. Nivyan, फिर तुम बोलोगे मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा. Let's calculate the total income for the producers. Total income for the producers would be total revenue. On top of the total revenue that the firms are receiving, they are also receiving an amount of subsidy, and that is equal to 40. That is 40 subsidy per unit times 110 that are being the units that are being produced, and that is equal to 4,400. Now let's first see what is the total revenue for firms. Since the firm is selling each unit at 70 multiplied by how many units are being sold, 110, right? 70 units are being sold. Since this is the new equilibrium price, this is the new market price, 70 times 110 gives you 7,700. This is the total revenue that the firms will receive by selling 110 units. Is this the only income firms are receiving? No, bhai, they are also receiving a financial grant, an amount in excess of the revenue they are earning by selling those goods, and that is the amount that is received by the firms. And how much is that? That is 40 per unit. So how many units are being produced? Sir, 110 units are being produced. Iska matlab, how much subsidy is the government giving? Total amount received by the firms in respect of subsidy is 4,400. So 7,700 plus 4,400 gives you 12,000. It gives you 12,100, and this 12,100 is the total income for the producer. And they are very happy. These firms are very happy because बैठे बैठे उनको 4,400 रुपए गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से मुफ्त में सब्सिडी के नाम पे मिल रहे हैं. It is up to them how they spend, and this is the evaluation that you will write. They should invest this money in research and development, innovation, so that they can improve themselves, become more efficient, so that they can compete against imported products, and try to realize their if in any case they have any absolute or comparative advantage. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure you see both these videos, subsidy part 1 and this video that is subsidy part 2. I'll see you guys in the next video.